Hi everybody. Thought I'd share a little musical devotion with you on a song I wrote recently. I was reading through the book of Daniel, and sometimes I think it's interesting to read all the way through a book just to get the full story. And Daniel isn't crazy long to get all the way through. And as I was reading through it, I realized Daniel has this roller coaster life. So he was literally part of three separate kingdoms, Judah, Babylon, and the Medes and the Persians. He was in Judah and they got taken into exile into Babylon. And then Babylon gets taken over by the Medes and the Persians, and he's had high points and low points, and life is crazy for him. But there was this kind of refrain or this verse that kept on coming up as I read the book of Daniel. I don't think I ever noticed it before, but Daniel says it once, King Nebuchadnezzar says it once, King Darius says it once, and this is what it looks like, or it's in a few different forms, but in Daniel 4, verse 34, it says, "His dominion is an eternal dominion. His kingdom endures from generation to generation." That's when Nebuchadnezzar says it. And then later on, Darius says it. This is after Daniel's been in the lion's den and Darius realizes what's happened. He says this. He says this about God. "For he is the living God, and he endures forever. His kingdom will never be destroyed. His dominion will never end." And this happens a couple more times throughout the book of Daniel. We see this phrase about God's kingdom continuing forever. His dominion will never end. God's kingdom will never be destroyed. And the interesting thing is this sometimes comes from non-believing kings. And you just got to think in Daniel's life, it's a roller coaster life. Things have been great, things have been bad, and there may have been times in his life where he would have wondered, is God really still king? Is God really still king of my life? Is he still in control when I've literally been part of three governments? I've seen kingdoms literally rise and fall. And maybe we ask that question too. Would be, is God still king in this world? Is God still king in my life? And there's one great place I think to look when you're wondering that is to look to the cross. Because there's a place where Jesus didn't look like the king. It looked like he was a loser. Looked like he had lost, looked like he had failed. But that was the place where he was winning his greatest victory. So even when things don't look great, we see in the book of Daniel, and we see at the cross, and we see in our lives, God's still king. And his kingdom reigns forever. And so that refrain of God's kingdom reigning forever, his dominion never ending, I wanted to bring that out musically. I wanted to show that God's kingdom reigns forever in a variety of different situations. So I hope you enjoy this song. It's called Forever His Kingdom Reigns.
We see the writing on the wall. Though kingdoms rise and they may fall, our God is king above it all. His kingdom reigns. heart no longer beats, when death leaves just an empty seat, you'll find